Okay, so welcome back. Today we're gonna actually start a game program. It's not gonna be anything fancy. We're just gonna put a sprite to the screen. So we're gonna go File, New, Project, and we want to make a Windows game, XNA Game Studio 4.0. We're gonna want to make a Windows game. You can make an Xbox game, but we'll make a Windows game for now. And we are going to hit OK. There we go. So this is your project file. This is where all your CS files go with all the code and everything. And this is your content folder. This is where all your images and sound effects and music and any other sort of assets that you use in the game will go right in here. It's very important that you put them in here as well. So first things first, you're going to need a couple of sprites. Just one actually. I'm going to have Mario here. I have three sprites. One's as a background, and this one is a slightly different sprite to show you what happens if you use the wrong type. We're going to drag them over and drop them in the content folder. There they are. Now you need PNG for character sprites. It's very important that you have PNG, and I'll explain later why that is. So here we have our game file. This is the main one here, game1.cs. This is all the XNA stuff you're going to need. You probably don't need most of this right now, but we'll leave it in anyways. So here's how we started off. We have the graphics device and the sprite batch, which is required for drawing. We're going to set up the graphics device here. This is all stuff that's really done for you. You don't really have to worry about it. But there's four functions you do have to worry about. So I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what's going on. So the first function is initialized. This is called the first time the game starts up, like right at the beginning. This is the first thing that's done. And in here is where you want to do obviously all your initialization logic. This is creating all your like instances of all your classes and objects and stuff like that. That's what you want to do here. This only happens once. So this is, yeah, like I said, this is where you want to be creating all your objects, and I'll get to that in a moment. Load content. This will happen once as well, right after the initialize is called. What this will do is this will actually load any content from the content browser, which has got to be in this folder, using the property content. And I'll show you that soon. But this is where you want to load everything. You don't want to be loading crap in your game. Unload content, unload any non-content, yeah, just crap that you rarely need this. This is mostly just for cleaning. Update. What this will do is this is called once roughly every 1/60th of a second. And this is where you want to do your logic. So this is like all your math, your movement, your key input. All your math is done here. All your logic, all your math, all your movements, stuff like that is done here. It checks to see if you have a game, if somebody pressed like the back button on your on their gamepad controller. But yeah, this is where you want to do all your logic. Because the third one, and this one's like I said called 1/60th of a second. This one here as well is called 1/60th second, and this is your draw. This is called right after your update, and this is where you draw everything. Now at this point, this is basically handed off to your graphics device, and your graphics device sucks as a math computational device. It is purely for drawing stuff on the screen, so you don't want to do any math in here whatsoever. You just want to be drawing crap. So don't do math, don't even divide crap. I'm going to screw that up later. You'll see there's better ways to do it, but for now you'll see how I screw it up. And game time is very popular. This is basically the difference, the amount of time it takes between the last function call. Provides a snapshot of timing value. Basically, from the last time, the amount of time from the last time that the draw function was called, the time the last time update was called, is what those come into effect. And these do come in important later. Alright, so let's do our first thing. So like I said, move your images into your content folder. We're going to go up to here. We're going to create some fields. So what a field is basically a data type inside of a class. The class owns these fields. And the first thing we want to do is we want to have an image to paste to the screen. And that image is actually a Texture2D. That is the image that will be pasted to our screen. And we're going to call him Mario. And he is going to hold all the data for drawing to the screen. And that will come into important later. And our next thing we're going to need is we're going to need a vector2. Now, remember we did the point yesterday in the strut? This is basically what a vector2 is the exact same thing. It's just got more functionality. It holds basically just 2 points, an x and a y. Obviously vector3 holds 3 points. It just holds an x and a y. And we're going to use it as the position. I forgot how to spell position there for a sec. So those are the 2 main things you really need to draw. You don't actually need position. You need this to actually draw. But you need this to actually move your character around. So let's scroll down to initialize here. We want to initialize our position. This we're going to use the new keyword. So we're going to do position equals a new instance of a vector2. And what we're going to do is we want Mario to be in the center of the screen. So how we do that, we're going to call graphics device, which is a property which gets a handle to the graphics device. We're going to get the property of our viewport, which is the window that it comes in. So the viewport for this is the window here, not counting the bar up top. And we want to get the width, dot width of that viewport. Now that's going to get us way down here, so Mario's going to come up down here. But we want him to be halfway. Not a third, half. Not an insert, half. Not, damn it, awkward key controls. Alright? And then we want him to be half the height as well. So same idea. Graphic device dot view dot viewport divided. It's really hard typing like this. Height. And we're going to divide that by 2. So now Mario's going to end up in the halfway point of the screen. So that's good, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to load the Mario image, this PNG. We'll click on it. There it is right there. We're going to load this image into the file. And how we do that is, first of all, we have to take our variable, which we called, if you remember, Mario. We need a Texture2D. So Mario equals content, which is not console, content. Now we want to load this content, which is right here. Now we have to define what we're loading, because we can load multiple things, but in this case we're loading a Texture2D. We can load other stuff such as music and sound effects later, as well as other tidbits here and there. So this is going to load a Texture2D, so let's open and close our braces here and put a semicolon so we don't forget. This is going to load a Texture2D, and what it takes is an asset name. And an asset name, it's a string. So what we have to do is we have to take the name of our string inside here. Now it always starts from the root. The root is always the content folder. So in this case, we just have to put Mario. Cool, eh? If you had, say, Mario in a folder called fold1, or say just fold, so we had a folder in the content browser which Mario was in it, you would have to say that to get it. Otherwise, it will create an exception, and we'll see that. In fact, I'll just do that by accident. We'll type in Mari. There we go. I'm not going to do anything in update just yet. We won't worry about that. But what we will do is we will draw. So how do you draw? Well, first you have to set up your sprite batch. Remember we created the sprite batch up in initialize? So we'll call it sprite batch dot begin. Now you have to begin to tell it to switch to your graphics device to start drawing. And we want to call end, which we will close it. So it's kind of like the braces. You want to start, you want to begin, and you want an end. And now we just want to do what? Why don't we draw? So what does draw take? Draw takes multiple things. Well, the first thing it always takes in is a Texture2D, as you can see. Kind of neat what all these do. Anyways, we just want to do the first one. So our sprite, our Texture2D is Mario. And we want to set him to our position. If you notice, the second value was a vector 2. Oh, sorry, it's a triangle there. A vector 2 in this case. So we want to set to position. And the last one is a color tint. Now I'll get into that in a moment, but for now we're just going to do color, capital C, American spelling as well, and we're just going to say white color. Oh, I completely spelled that one wrong. We're going to just say white for now, and don't put it over the wheat. The wheat is always the first one you get. So there we go. Now let's try running our game. Yes, just run the stupid thing. Screw you, Advast. Yeah, continue execution. Oh, what happened here? Content load exception was unhandled. That's because we tried to load the file Mbari, which doesn't exist. You're going to get that thing content not loaded if you spelled the name wrong. And it could be something as simply the slash was in the wrong spot, a missed letter. So put the O in. Boom. There's Mario. He's freaking huge. And you notice he's technically not off the screen. Sorry, he's technically not in the middle of the screen. There it is. It's flying around. If you click on this, you'll notice it actually starts drawing from here down to here. So what we want is we actually want the center to be right here. So that's easy fix. So let's do that first. Put some brackets around here so we get some. If you remember your mathematics and bedmass or something, brackets first, your mom second or something. I don't remember how it goes. I'm sure I could if I actually thought about it, but I don't feel like thinking about it. So what we want to do is we want to actually minus. We want to minus Mario. Mario's width. So this is the width of the texture if we go back to our Mario. That's this length. Sorry, this length. And this is the height. X and Y value in the texture are right here. So we'll do the width, and we're going to multiply that by 2, and we're going to subtract it. There we go. And we're going to subtract Mario dot height. Divide that by 2. So this should get us right in the center. No, what did I do? I must have done something wrong here. Wait. Okay. So what happens when you have too much on... What's the exception? Doesn't show me the brackets. Okay. Mario 2. Why is it complaining now? Oh, I'm being stupid. We'll just take this Oh, actually what we're gonna do is I'm going to copy this because I'm really dumb, and remember, initialization happens first, which means at this point Mario doesn't actually exist. It's null, and I'm trying to access it. We don't want to do that. We want to do that after we've loaded the content. That's what's going wrong. That is really stupid of me. We want to set there we go. Much better. That. That's what we want to do. We have to do that because at this point, Mario's created. Up here in initialize, remember that happens first, so at this point Mario's null, and if you try to access something that's null, it's going to break on you. No, what was my error? And I forgot to bracket at the end. Brackets can get really hectic. There he is, right smack dab in the middle of the screen. Cool, eh? So now before you were wondering what this is here. If you go to Sprite Bat, or sorry, if you go to Draw, you'll notice it says Color. Well, what that is that's actually the tint. So if we do red, it's going to actually multiply a red tint over all the colors in Mario, making them a little redder. So it adds a bit of an overlay to stuff, so you can play around with that. It's a good way to do like sprite. Do royal blue. It's a good way to do. It's kind of like in the night, eh? It's kind of like that's what I mean. It's a good way to be like, hey, look, that's Mario during the day, and then there's Mario during the night, right? So you don't have to actually make two different sprites that are a different color. You can just overlay a royal blue tint, and it will look like he's floating around in the night. But we'll just go with the white for now. That's all good. Alright, so we got Mario printing the screen. Let's get him moving around, shall we? This is where we're going to want to go into our update. Right here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get keyboard state. We'll call it key state. Wait. Keyboard state. Make it something useful. And we're going to assign it to the keyboard.getState. So what this will do is this will return all the information about our keyboard, what buttons are pressed, and all that. So what we want to do is we want to do if statements. If statement checks a condition inside of the brackets here. And our condition is going to be if keyboard state dot is key down, so this determines which keys are pressed down. If the key dot is down is keys, which is another, it's an enumerated type, so it carries a list of all the keys we have, and we want, we'll do left. No, wait, right. If the right key is pressed, we're going to want to set our new position dot x equals plus equals 5. Now what this will do is this will add 5 to the current x position. So we're basically just going to copy this. It's good to do it yourself and get the practice, but what we're going to do is we're going to do -5 now. Should really be a float, but we're going to do left. Then we're going to change this to y. Now this one's really screwed up. And we'll change that to minus. So what we'll do is we're going to do this as, this is up, right? Because we're going plus. And now we're going down. So let's try running this. Hopefully this will work and not blow up in my face. There we go. So let's press the arrow keys. Oh! Left and right work. But I'm pressing up right now and he's going down. I'm pressing down. Well, remember this This is normal because this direction is plus and this direction is minus. However, one issue is this direction is plus and this direction is minus. So that means we have our things a little wonky. So we actually want this to add when we want to go down, and we want this to subtract when we go up. So there's our character. He's now going up and down properly. He's floating around in the Christmas tree. Do 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 do. And so there's Mario flying around, but he still looks a little pathetic on a blue sky. Let's give him something a little more exciting, shall we? Let's create a new texture. We're going to call it Texture2D background. And we are going to load the background right after Mario. So let's say background equals content, not load content, load, and it is a type of Texture2D once again. So we've got to specify what object we're trying to load, and this one is called Mario background, and it's a JPEG, and we're not gonna update it or anything like that, but we will draw it. Now things are drawn in reverse, things are drawn in order, so the thing that's drawn first is in the back. So if we draw our background in the front, it will actually cover Mario and we won't see him. We don't need to be in, we need to draw background. We're going to set it to a new rec. Actually, new vector 2. We're going to say 0, 0. And then it's going to be color dot white. So there we go. Let's try running that, see what we get. Wow. It's a great background. It's different color. What happened? Well, if you look at the actual texture, it is freaking huge. Look how big that thing is. So it's way too big for our viewport. So what we want to do is we actually want to set a bounding. And how we do that is we use a new rectangle. And we're going to say 0, not object, 0.0, sorry, 0, thingamadoodle, 0, close the bracket there because I always forget to do crap like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to want to get our graphics device again, dot viewport, dot width, and graphics device, dot viewport, dot height. So this will get us the full height of the screen and width, and it will bind that image, shrinking it to these dimensions of the rectangle. So let's try that. There it is, much better. Much better. Pretty cool, eh? Alright. However, Mario's a bit small. Now this is what you don't want. What you want to do is you want your images to be small. You want to take Photoshop or any sort of image editing tool, and you want to shrink them down in there. You don't want to be doing what I'm going to do here. You don't want to do new, not mirror, new rectangle. Say 0.0. Oops, 0 thingy madoodle 0. We'll learn the name of what that is. And then we're going to go Mario dot texture. Actually, do this on a new line. Mario dot text. Mario dot width. We'll say divided by 5. And Mario dot height divided by 5. So that's going to shrink our Mario. Well, there he is. Now he's stuck because I forgot to set the X and Y. This is what you want to do here, sorry. Gotta do position dot X so that it updates properly. Position.y. There we go. What did... Oh. Now this is the really stupid thing. Triangle takes ints. Unfortunately, positions are floats, so you have to use what's called a cast. This is basically you telling the compiler that, yes, I know I'm trying to put a float into an int. So you do the brackets, and then you put in the type you want to cast it to. There we go. There's Mario. Look at him go, the Christmas tree. Now you'll notice he's still not off center because it's taking the original height of the position of his actual size. But he's flying around his world. That's a little too small though. We'll blow him up a bit. We'll say 4. That should bring him up a little better. Yeah, that's pretty good. He's not as cruddy looking. So there's Mario. Now let's put Mario on a night scene. Let's do the dot royal blue. And we'll do that on this. Dot royal blue. Oh, now Mario's flying around in the night. Pretty cool, eh? Whee! So that's pretty awesome. Now I want to show you what happens if I have a JPEG down here named wrong. Now we're going to load that as our image. So let's load wrong. See what happens. You can't, oh, there we go. See it much better now. Notice he has the white block around it. That's because JPEGs do not save alphas. So if you have any white around your character, it will show up as a white block. PNGs, however, do save alphas, meaning that they determine transparency. Anything set to white, or pure white, or 0 in the back, is actually transparent. PNGs save a little extra thing that's called a mask. It's all black that determines... If it's all black, it determines that it's see-through. If it's all white, it determines what's displayed. So this is why you need PNGs for your characters, or anything you want to be see-through, or anything you want to have like super edges. Like our background here can be a JPEG, because we don't care. We don't want to see what's behind the background. But say you want to make the foreground here, all the trees and everything, you know, you want to move at a different scale as the background, as the clouds and stuff. You'd have to make all these trees as a PNG, otherwise it would just cover everything with white. So that's everything we got. So let's put this back to Mario. Mario. I got a cold, that's not going to work as well. So I think that's about all we need to do for drawing. Like I said, you want to do all your updating and stuff in here. Unfortunately, like I said, you can't set... You have to actually... It's better to change the actual image sizes in Paint or Photoshop or something. Scale them down there. Because this is not good. Your graphics device... At this point, you're running off your graphics device, and it is shit. Sorry. It is really crappy compared to your CPU. Like, in Update, this is your CPU, and CPU handles math like no one's business. Graphics device does not. Graphics device cannot handle math. It doesn't matter how advanced your graphics device is. It is not meant to do math. And crap like this, doing a lot of this, if you scaled every image you had in a game down, you'd be pretty screwed. So, that's the end of today for drawing. In the next episode, we're going to actually create a sprite, which will have all this information for us. We're going to actually create a first class, which will be a sprite. So folks, thank you for watching, and Mario will see you next time. Bye now.